Depending on the difficulty that you choose, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle doesn't tend to hold your hand through every little detail. And not only for myself, but even just watching random streams and stuff, I've realized that there are quite a few mistakes that can be made in this game. And so today, I wanted to run you guys through some of the easiest mistakes you should avoid making in Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Now, the first one I've got here is essentially to do with the exploration. This game has a hell of a lot more exploration than people are probably going to realize. The game obviously does have a lot of sort of A to B sections where it's a bit more linear and a bit more narrative driven. But from my experience so far, those are actually few and far between. Most of the game is fairly open world, or at least open zone. So it's not a proper open world game, but there is usually a big map that you can pretty much stroll around and do whatever you want. And this game is definitely not a linear game at the end of the day. Realistically, that is actually to be expected. This is an Indiana Jones game. Obviously, he is very well known for his exploration, and you should be using that same mindset in this game because there is so much for you guys to find, some of which is fairly easy if you just go out and explore, but some of it is also a little bit more hidden than you probably expect. Now, I'm mostly talking about within the tombs and the more underground sections of this game, but there are a few times where I've actually found genuinely hidden little areas, whether that's, going prone to crawl under a wall and get into a section that I didn't initially know was there, or there's even been a few times when I can see a little hole in a wall, and after realizing that I can throw my torch through there, I've then found other areas where you can pick up that torch and it leads you to find some pretty cool hidden secrets and stuff. So that is really the first mistake I think a lot of people are going to make, is just not spending the time to explore hidden areas. Obviously, if you just want to play the game from A to B, that's completely fine. But for those looking to try and find all the hidden secrets and stuff, it is definitely worth paying attention, not only to the more obvious areas you can explore, but even looking for some of those more hidden areas that are essentially hidden in plain sight. Now, another mistake that I think a lot of people are going to make, and this is one that I was actually making early on too, is leaving the little medicine vials behind and not seeking them in order to start collecting them. Now, once you're in Vatican City, you will start stumbling across these, and initially I thought that they were another healing mechanic. Obviously, you can find bandages and use them to heal yourself, and when I first found a little medicine vial, I thought that it was just like an extra way to heal, until it obviously tells you that these are just kind of a collectible. Now, once I learned they were a collectible, I didn't really seek them out too much. I actually specifically remember one time seeing one in the far corner of a room, and I just thought, I can't use it. What's the point in even collecting it? And that is something that I definitely regret, because it turns out you can use these later once you make it to Giza, and you can actually go and talk to Kafur in the main village area. He can help increase your health and even your stamina by bringing him these medicine vials. So if you see medicine laying around, do not leave it there. I know it initially just seems like a random collectible, but these are very handy later on. You can start finding these once you make it to Vatican City, but also there are plenty to be found in Giza as well. And something even more useful is if you guys head to this location on the map, you'll find a sort of tent set up here. There will be enemies in this area, so you're gonna have to probably take them out. It'll be pretty hard to sneak in here, but as you can see, I just found a freaking rifle and took them all out the easy way. And once you enter that tent, you'll find a chest in sort of the back area. If you go to that and use the code 0609, that will open that chest up, and inside you'll find a map that actually lists all of the medicine bottles within Giza, and that is going to make them a hell of a lot easier for you guys to collect. So do not neglect these. This is going to be a massive help getting your health up and also your stamina too, and that is a mistake that I definitely made early on in the game. Now, before we go any further, if you guys are interested in more Indiana Jones and the Great Circle content, be sure to hit that subscribe button. There is plenty more on the way, so make sure you don't miss out. Now, another mistake that I definitely made, and I think a lot of people are going to make this too, is essentially neglecting the fast travel in this game. Yes, this game does have fast travel, and ironically, it does tell you this early on, yet it kind of tells you in a way that, at least for me, I genuinely just forgot about this, because at that time, I was being pretty much bombarded with a bunch of new information. It was once I first reached Vatican City, and so it was one of those things where it does tell you, but I had just received 10 other bits of information, and it all kind of went in one ear and out the other. So this game does have fast travel within the actual cities and locations themselves, and that is done through the street sign. So whenever you see a street sign, if you walk up to it, as you can see, you can sort of fast travel around that city. It'll take you to other key locations. That is probably one of my biggest complaints about this game, really, is that the traversal across the entire maps is pretty slow. The actual traversal when you're in like tombs and stuff is really fun, but when it comes to just simply sprinting from point A to point B, the traversal is pretty slow. The stamina runs out very quickly, and it does feel like a bit of a chore getting from one side of the map to the other. So do not neglect the fast travel. It is something that I genuinely forgot about doing until I was probably 5 or 6 hours into the game. The only downside to it is that unfortunately you do need to actually visit each location first in order to kind of unlock them in those street signs. So as you can see here, most of these ones I'm showing are locked, and that's simply because I hadn't actually been to those locations yet at this point in the playthrough. So the first time you will need to go to the actual location, but once you've kind of been to every main area, at that point you can fast travel. And like I said, when it comes to collecting those medicine bottles or whatever the case may be, using that fast travel is going to make it a hell of a lot faster. Now, last but definitely not least, and this is one that I've noticed mostly when I've been like watching random streams and stuff of the game, is that I think a lot of people are kind of forgetting to switch back to Indy's main costume. Obviously, the game sort of forces you, or at least heavily recommends, to use different outfits depending on the city or the location that you're in, and those outfits will kind of allow you to blend in. Obviously, if you're dressed as Indiana Jones and the Nazis kind of know who you are, they are going to be alerted when they see you. Yet in certain locations, if you wear an outfit, it kind of blends you in and makes you hidden to those enemies. And I will say those are definitely worth using. Going unnoticed will make it a lot easier most of the time, or at least a lot faster to get to your location, unless you just absolutely love getting into combat. But the thing is that if you do have those outfits equipped, it's still worth switching back to Indy's outfit whenever you're entering a tomb, for example, or if you're about to enter into combat and you know that you're going to be fighting. It is 100% worth switching back to Indy's outfit. The reason for that is that with Indy's outfit, you'll actually get 1 extra health bar. Plus, if you've unlocked it, you can also use his ability called the Lucky Hat, where when you kind of get knocked out, you'll have an extra chance, and all you need to do is crawl around on the ground and you can actually pick up Indy's hat, which will essentially revive you and is more often than not a massive lifesaver in the fact that you get a heap of health back. And for example, there might have only been 1 or 2 enemies left. You can revive yourself, take them out, and you've just survived that encounter. So always remember to try and switch back to Indy's costume whenever you need to. For example, entering a tomb, it doesn't matter if you're wearing an outfit or not. You will be recognized in a tomb if there are enemies in there, simply because those areas are usually restricted. And so in my opinion, you may as well always be wearing Indy's outfit in those locations, not only for that extra health and stuff, but also it is just an iconic costume and it looks very cool when you do get to see those brief third-person sections. But that is it for some of the biggest mistakes you guys should be avoiding in Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I'm keen to hear all of your thoughts as well, so if you guys have any mistakes that you want to share, be sure to leave them down in the comment section. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.